All right, you guys, so welcome back to Borderlands 4. Now, a ton of people have asked me, how in the world are you getting such great frame rates in your PC gameplay? And so I wanted to show you guys the settings that I'm using currently to run Borderlands 4 on my PC. Now, my PC is spec'd out pretty good. I have 32 gigs of RAM, a 4080 Super, and I will show you the settings that I'm using and also the controller settings because I am playing with a DualShock 5 controller. So you guys, without further ado, let's dive right into these settings. All right, so for starters, we're gonna go through the visuals, audio controls, gameplay, and that's about it. We're not gonna dive into network or social or accessibility, but in visuals, I have it set display mode set to windowed full screen, resolution 1440p. Display stats always show my FPS in the corner. Limit frame rate, I have that turned off. Now, certain PCs, you can turn that on if your PC can't handle unlimited frame rates. So definitely turn that on if you just want to ride at a smooth 60 FPS. I would recommend that so you don't have any hitches and such. Vertical sync, I have that also turned off. I recommend that off for all games. And field of view, I actually turned this up a bit. So the field of view by default is here in the middle. I have mine set to 100 and 100, and I feel like that's a pretty good viewpoint when it comes to seeing things on the map and not being too stretched out or expanded. So let's dive into the advanced settings. So my preset right now is set to very high. I did auto detect graphic settings and it did turn up my presets to some of the settings came up a little bit higher to, like, you know, ultra settings. But to be honest, guys, I don't think it's smart to run any game at ultra, especially if you are recording the game at the same time. So I tuned down a bit of my settings. Now, the number one thing is upscaling method. I turn this to DLSS. Obviously, now a huge thing that you guys want to keep in mind is update your drivers, your NVIDIA drivers. They did release a brand new updated driver just for Borderlands. So make sure you're running that before you start the game. And that would essentially help out with your frames per second and how the game runs. Upscaling quality, I have this set to quality. Scene capture quality, I have this set to full resolution. Frame generation, so I had this essentially turned off before, but I turned it on and it literally boosted me up about 50 FPS. I'm not even kidding. Before I turned it on, I was getting around 100 FPS or so, roughly, with the same settings. After turning it on, my game is skating around 150 FPS. So make sure to turn that on. NVIDIA Reflex Low Latency, I can't turn that off because I believe frame generation is on, so that is set to on. HLOD loading range, I have that set to far. Geometry quality, I have that set to medium. Texture quality, I have this set to high. Texture streaming speed, I have this set to high. Anisotropic filtering quality, I have this set to X8. Now, based off of Borderlands update or the information they released, they said set it to X16. I'm setting it to X8. Higher values do improve the texture quality, but it does cost GPU performance. So I'm keeping mine at 8, even though they recommend 16. Foliage density, I have this set to high. Volumetric fog, I have this set to high. Volumetric cloud, I have this set to high. Shadow quality, I have this also set to high. Directional shadow quality, also set to high. Volumetric cloud shadows, I have this enabled. Lighting quality set to high. Reflections quality set to high. And shading quality, I have this set to medium. Now, you guys know, if you play a PC, shading quality is one of the most demanding settings that you can ever have. If you ever lower end PC, I highly recommend this turning this down to low. I can run this at high if I wanted to, but why? There's just no point. There's just no point. Post-process quality, I have this set to high. Motion blur amount, I have that turned all the way off. No one wants to get nauseous or seasick while playing a game. Motion blur quality, I have that also set to off. Now, as for audio settings, master volume, I did turn this down a bit to 80. I don't like the game screaming in my ear, and I know when they master out these games, they master them out for not for headphones, but they master them out for, I'm guessing, a surround sound system. But it's done in a studio, so Surround sound system quality in your headphones is kind of crazy and kind of loud. Music volume, I have everything else set to 100 if the master volume is set to 80. Audio preset, I have this set to hi-fi, best for high quality speakers or headphones, delivers maximum dynamic range with minimal compression. Loud sounds will be loud and quiet sounds will be quiet. Nice. This is exactly where you want it to be. And play and background, I have that turned to off, but I'm actually going to turn that on because then I can check this stuff while I'm streaming or recording. I can make sure my audio's playing while I'm doing that. Now, if you dive over to advanced audio settings, forced mono, I have that set to off. EQ mix preset, I did not mess with this one at all, but you can if you like. It will give you a little bit of different softness. If you have like tinnitus or anything like that, ear fatigue, you can definitely turn down some of those settings. The rest of the settings are set to maxed out. Mute hit marker, I have that off. I love hearing the hit markers. It's just part of gaming. Everything else is set to 100 or default. Now, as for controls, horizontal look sensitivity, I actually turned this on up just a little bit to 130. Vertical look sensitivity, I have this set to 120. Horizontal aim sensitivity, I have this set to 135. Vertical aim sensitivity, I have this set to 130. This is really important because when by default you're moving like a snail. So turn it up just a little bit. Don't crank it too high or the game will feel kind of off. I think I have really dialed in some good settings. All my inverting, I have this all turned off, and I'm not playing on mouse and keyboard, so I don't have to worry about that. Toggle ADS, I have this off. I like to pull the trigger and shoot and let go of the trigger, and I get out of ADS. And this is all mouse ADS. I don't have that. Controller ADS snap to target. I have this turned on. This is really helpful for just aim assist and just snapping to the target. It helps. It helps. We're playing a game here. Controller aim assist, I have this turned on, and controller aim recentering, I have that off. I don't want it to recenter every time I aim in. It just feels like it will be odd. And this is all cursor information. We're not too worried about that. Now let's go over to advanced settings. This is all mouse and key, not worried about that. Inverted forward movement, I have that off. Strafe movement, I have that off. And then the dead zones, I left these all the same. I'm not going to bother them. It's not like I'm playing an FPS game competitively, so I'm not going to bother. This is great. This is perfect. So let's bounce over to controller settings. Now the stick preset, I have that set to default. The driving preset, I have that set to default. Everything else in here is all set to default. There is one thing that I did change, and that is going to be the, let's see here, melee and grapple. So the melee and grapple is normally set to R3, where you would press down R3 and you can melee or grapple. I changed that to circle because the problem is that circle used to be sliding and crouch. And so I'm so used to playing games where I can crouch and slide with clicking R3 and melee with circle. So I just switched that around. That would help you out a lot if you are used to different FPS games and such. So let's dive over to gameplay settings. So sensor gore, we have that turned off. We love the gore. Menu tutorials, we have that on. HUD tutorials, we have that on. Echolocation path visibility duration, I have that set to medium. It's really good to have because that is showing you where to go. And if it goes away too fast, you can kind of get lost, especially with how many forts, houses, and things to loot. You will lose your track of time and pathing really quick. Reticle position, I have that centered. Compass, vertical indicators, all icons, toggle radar display, compass. That is the settings I'm using. And guys, that is some really good settings. You see how fast my cursor is? It's not too fast. Like I can jump, aim, I can spin. Remember, we're not playing a crazy FPS game where we would need crazy movement and crazy stuff, but being able to slide and aim at the same time is really helpful. That's going to help, and that's just clicking R3. So guys, if you did enjoy this or find this video helpful, definitely make sure to drop a like down below. Subscribe if you want to see more. Leave a comment if you have any other settings, ideas, thoughts, or anything else that everybody else may need to know. Make sure you drop that in the comment section below. But until next time, folks, I will see you in the Outlands.